Alright guys, this one's Tamiya's Mark 5 Chieftain, which I wanted to do a bit different. I wanted to do it in the Middle East, one of the countries that we sold it to. British tanks, they're not necessarily boring to me. I don't do them often, but I don't know. I have to feel like it's in a situation that I can do a diorama that's interesting, and the British never deployed this anywhere other than in West Germany, I think. British used it from the 50s to about 1975, but in 1975 sold some to Iran, some to Kuwait. And it appealed to me because the Kuwaiti ones seemed to have lots of storage on, be desert colours, and they didn't have a lot of markings and decals, they just had the flags. So yeah, the task would be to it comes in very, very, very dark green plastic, and it's getting a coverage with pale brown on you would be a bit of a pain in the neck. But yeah, still keeping it really thin, putting it on in washes, usual thing really. I've got to the usual point here where, just follow the instructions, stick the wheels on, stick the turret on, and then it gets interesting really. So I've gone for khaki grey by Vallejo as like a base colour, and then I lighten it with the Vallejo grey green, which is an underused colour that I've got left over from when I used to do British Royal Air Force day fighters. It's the undercarriage. Sorry about that. I've got the windows open because it's quite a warm day here in the UK for once. But yeah, it's the undercarriage colour from Spitfires, and I just thought it gives a bit of variety to my sand colours if I'm mixing something slightly different. Yeah, spot the mistake, guys. You'll see by the end. I put these side skirts on back to front because I was following the line, the top line there of the lower hull, and it kind of mirrors it, but it's the reverse. So just keep an eye on the plans when you're doing that. It looks right though. It's only when I looked at the pictures of the Kuwaiti ones I realised I'd done it back to front. I probably won't take it off, to be honest. It's not worth it. It looks pretty good actually. So yeah, like I say, keep the washes nice and thin, and build it up gradually. None of this, when you're brush painting, I don't think it's possible to do the kind of pre-shading, the whites and the blacks. But obviously, when you've put down a base colour that's slightly darker, you've got the opportunity to do highlights, dry brushing, things like that. And that's the direction I'm going in with this one. Trying to start off a little bit dark, and I'm going to do some pin wash with oils on this tank. I like a desert coloured tank. Actually, I don't think I've done many. There was a time when I got bored with tanks that were one colour all over, but just recently it gives you the opportunity to practice your skills with weathering, pin washes and things like that. So what can I say about the build? You can see I've done the wheels there, I've put the tracks on, I've put the side skirts on backwards. All that went together absolutely fine, but I've had to do it like that because I've had to paint the wheels and the lower parts of the hull because you can't get access to it when you're brush painting afterwards. So you have to look ahead really to what you're going to cover up before you cover it up. So I've jumped a little bit here to a point where I am lightening the sand colours on the tank. But yeah, build was absolutely fine. I thought the cages for storage on the turret might be a bit problematic, but they weren't really. It's a nice solid model. It's a nice big tank, and the model itself calls for the typical green and black British Cold War camouflage. I just didn't feel it really. Then there's a version which I think is a pale grey, pale blue and brown, which is really interesting. But without an airbrush, it was quite a complex paint scheme, so I didn't fancy that one. So I knew I had decals left over from my plane building days that were Arabic insignias and Arabic script, and my plan was just to put a few bits on the tank. The pictures I've seen of Kuwaiti and Jordanian chieftains are they only have a few little icons, stylised number on the front, a stylised number on the back of the turret, and sometimes some Arabic script. I think I've seen them with like a registration plate on, but I don't know if that was, something to do with export and delivery from Britain. They may have had a registration plate that the Kuwaiti army took off. It looked like a British registration plate. It's hard to, there's not many pictures to be fair. So when I was looking for my decals that I'd remembered having with the Arabic script, I couldn't find them. So I think for this video, I think I'll leave the decals off, and then I'll print or create something, even if it's just a Kuwaiti flag for the radio antenna. It crossed my mind to create a Kuwaiti flag on foil, hand painted it, but it's too difficult to get it looking crisp, and yeah, it's too rough. Hand painted flag, it's too rough. So I scrapped that, and that actually becomes my tarpaulin. When I'm doing the storage, I do like a little scratch built bit of wire and a bit of tarp in the bins at the back. But no, on the whole, lovely build, really nice build. I'd like to move on from this to the Challenger and Challenger 2. But this one was quite cheap in the UK. I think this was £21 or £22. If you see my previous video, guys, I did a small stretch of road with like Middle Eastern style ruins along the road and some plants. So it's just a Kuwaiti chieftain driving down a city street. During the Iraq War, the Kuwaiti army had chieftains fighting Saddam Hussein in the 90s, 1991, 1990. And the British by then had got rid. It was complicated development from the Centurion. They did the Chieftain. It was a bit of a flop. When the engine fired up, it created plumes of black smoke, so it made it really easily spotted by the enemy. The British never used it in action. and then we tried to sell it to the Iranians, and I think there was a plan to sell it to Israelis as well, and in the end nobody really wanted it. I think we started developing the Challenger using bits of the Chieftain, and in the end I think Jordanian army bought a load and upgraded them themselves to make better tanks out of them. But yeah, not a huge success. But certainly a great looking thing, powerful looking thing. Let me know, guys, if you've made this model and what you thought about it. I don't often use the oil pin wash with the white spirit. I used to use it on planes back in the day when I made planes, and I just felt it was really hard to get like the right amount, and make it look realistic. But with this all being one sandy colour, it was just asking for burnt umber. And it is nice, if you're used to acrylic, to be able to just kind of bleed it again, work back into it with the white spirit, and tidy it up a little bit and keep going back. I did do some of the Vallejo inky pin wash black on the machine gun and around the mortars and things like that, but yeah, I went over the whole tank after I'd done the 3 different grades, getting like gradually lighter of the pale brown. I went over the whole tank with a clear coat, with just with pledge, and then after it had dried, I went over it with this burnt umber and white spirit, just to pick out some of the details. Yeah, I was pleased with that anyway. think the only issue, guys, was with the seam in the barrel of the gun, because there's some kind of fabric or coolant system along the gun, and it's quite detailed. So when you put it together, there's a seam. I suppose that's why you YouTube guys seem to get the metal barrels, the aftermarket barrels, and replace them. Yeah, it did look a bit pants, but tried to sand it a little, make as good a match as I could make, and then yeah, it's not super noticeable. The aerials, the storage was just bags and rucksacks from previous models that were in the box, and then I made a tarp out of foil, and there's a coil of wire or cable in there, and that's just from a guitar string. So that's it on the diorama, guys. Some oil cans in some knapsacks, oil cans. That was just stuff that was left over in the box, the usual spares box. And I think the guitar wire was pretty realistic to scale. Yeah, really enjoyable build, guys, and I'm happy with it. Just need to get some Arabic decals maybe off the eBay, or just a Kuwaiti flag for it, you know. But yeah, quite pleased with the effect. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll put some more detailed pictures on Instagram as well, some stills of it. Thanks for watching, guys.